As expected, investigators with the Texas Education Agency have recommended a takeover of the largest school district in the state, Houston ISD. Among the findings, many of which were previously reported on this program, violations of Texas open meetings law, manipulation of contract procurement rules, and lying to investigators, infractions allegedly orchestrated by Board President Diana Davila. As you'll remember, mayhem broke out at district headquarters over a failed attempt to oust interim superintendent Granita Lathan in favor of former superintendent Abe Saavedra.
You know, in retrospect, could we have done it differently? Yes, we could have done it differently, but that's in retrospect. I mean, I can't take it back. But yes, I would have done it differently.
Investigators say collectively the violations demonstrated an inability of the board to, quote, appropriately govern. TEA Commissioner Mike Morath will have the final say on replacing the board by year's end. Fortunately, we have one of the best education lawyers in the state, Chris Tritico, right here. What do you make of all this?
Well, I'm the only lawyer in Texas that's represented 3 school districts with sanctions like this, and they will be replaced. There's no question about it. They asked for this. They have been not governing that district appropriately from the day they were sworn into office. They're open fights, and everything that they have done has been wrong. And people who've tried to help them, they haven't listened. And so they've asked for these sanctions, and when people tried to tell them, here's what you can do to shore this up, they wouldn't listen to that. And so they will be replaced, and they will have a board of managers come in, and that will last 2 to 5 years. And so it's going to be a hard sanction.
Okay, Tony Diaz, you are a professional educator, and this is a district that has well over 65% Latino kids. As you've watched this unfold, what's your take?
Well, let's get something straight. None of this is going to fix the educational system in Houston. Moving forward, we're probably not going to see any major changes in the next year or two. It's sad. We're going to have a whole generation of students that were ignored by the system. And let's talk about elections. I tell you what, if the Texas Education Agency, which has a majority of Republicans on the Texas State Board of Education, if Morath, who's Republican appointed, decides to come in and there's not changes, then here's what needs to happen during the next election. Donna Bohorich, who's Texas State Board of Education, Republican, that represents Houston, her seat's up for election. On top of it, this is all the result of legislation run by Republicans. And Bonin said that the legislation was out to do in blue cities. Here's one way to do it. If you don't like it, we need to vote out these Republican state reps in 2020 because they're the ones that made the law that are wrong.
Okay, you buy that this is just Republican pushback from Austin trying to make Democratic cities look bad.
Not in the slightest, because the bill that was filed that allowed this takeover was filed by State Representative Harold Dutton, who's a Democrat. So the Democrats have permitted this to happen, and it should happen, because every single day that this board is allowed to continue and run amok is another day that a kid who is in HISD loses their potential. I mean, it's great that the board president can say in hindsight we could have done things differently. Guess who doesn't have the luxury of saying in hindsight things should have been done differently? The kids who have wasted their time in HISD. So don't blame this on Republicans, because it's not a Republican problem. It shouldn't be a Democrat problem either, but the kids need help.
Bennett put a target on it.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Bettencourt put a target on HISD.
You know what? This is what happens when you let ethnic politics control your
Build a wall is ethnic politics.
No,
Build a wall is a bunch of right-wingers stuff.
Tony, look, you know this. When the African-American guys control the board, they played it their way. When the Hispanics control the board, they play it their way.
The white board members ruined it for people. Don't go racial if you don't know what you're talking about. That's profiling, and that's wrong.
It's not profiling.
It's ruined over the years.
Wait a second. Let him talk, and you'll get a chance.
It is called reality. When we only have single-member districts in school districts, everyone goes into their corner to protect the schools in their district alone and could give two you know what about everybody else. We need to go back. We need to have at-large members and single-member districts. But you know what? They deserve to be blown up.
Stop. 20 seconds.
It ignores the structural racism that's kept our community from access to running or being in the schools as well. Even with single-member districts.
Tony, there's only one white board member.
What are
You're
you
telling me
talking
all the
about?
generations that have ruined this system? Oh, please,
Okay,
oh, please.
okay.
All the generations before this, they've tanked the system, and then they finally handed it to minorities, right, to run it. And it's
Oh, yeah.
really because of all this
And
from
it's
before.
worked out great.
It's all before from this discrimination and these laws, everything that's really been put against us. And really, education is key. If education didn't matter, why would rich white folks be going to jail to get college
Tony,
degrees?
how do you
Hey, gotta go to break, you guys.